Hello and welcome to the oddschecker betting show. This is a Royal Ascot preview. It is the preview of Friday, day 4. I'm your host, George Elek, and I'm joined by the two experts, the two tipsters who join me for day 1, day 2 and day 3. It's Rory Delargy and Andy Holding. This podcast and video is sponsored by Sky Bet, and we'll be talking through a cracking offer that they've got for the day later on in the show. Before we get into the racing, just going to point you in the direction of the oddschecker app for the very best prices, place terms, bookie offers, free bets, and the best tipsters as well. Andy's column up on the app every single morning. You can find it there before anywhere else around about 9 o'clock. So do download the app now so you can follow alongside. We've spoken on the other podcasts about both Rory and Andy's, the way they approach Royal Ascot and the quirks of the course. We've discussed already how there is a rain forecast. So the better ground we're expecting on maybe Tuesday or Wednesday might subside for some stickier stuff, some more testing ground on Thursday and Friday. So that's all been covered. So what else can we do but get started and go straight into the Albany, the 2-year-old race over 6 furlongs for the fillies. And we've got Flotus is the 4-1 favourite ahead of Hello You, Prettiest both 5-1, Oscula 8-1, Cachet 8-1, Golden Bell 10-1, Beautiful Sunshine 12-1, Sandrine 14-1, 16-1 Bar. We are recording this at 2:30 on Monday afternoon, so we are still a fair bit off knowing who will be running where, but educated guesses all round, I think, here can probably inform us a little bit. So, Andy, it's a 2-year-old race. I'll give you the first go to make sense of the Albany at this early stage.
Yeah, some really nice horses in the making here. They've already proven that they are well above average, and the time figures have also backed that up as well. Flotus being one of the main protagonists. She's been steadily supported in the last sort of fortnight after she won at Goodwood. She did everything wrong that day. I didn't think Sylvester gave her the greatest of rides, but I think he got bailed out by the fact that the horse still had the class to win. The numbers are very good. You'd definitely put that as an upgradable performance. Likely to be more to come. She's a big scopy mare as well, filly as well. So one would imagine, she's going to progress through the rest of the season. We don't know whether there's going to be more likely to improve, but look, she's got a soft ground win under her belt in a good time. So you couldn't argue with her being favourite. The other one, in contrast, who was also visually impressive and on the clock as well, who's been well found, is Hello You. A lot of good judges have been backing this horse as well in the last few weeks. Performance came on the weather, so we don't know whether she'll handle a slightly softer terrain if it was to get quite testing at the Royal Meeting. But she's a very, very exciting horse for the future. Another one as well, who's just had the one run and also caught my eye in a quite quick time, was Hello My Darling, again trained by George Borhe. She's won on fast ground, but she's by Galileo Gold. Anyone who knows Galileo Gold remembers Galileo Gold. He was very much a soft ground lover, and he's already produced a nice 2-year-old as well this season of Hugo Palmer's Ebro River that won the National Stakes on soft ground. I actually backed him because of his sire stats. So if it went soft or softish, it wouldn't deter me from Hello My Darling. But I loved her performance at Goodwood the other day. She got her head down and battled quite well. And I thought she had still a little bit more left under the bonnet. But her time figure as well for a debut performance was also in keeping with those who've already got more sexier profiles, have been well found in the market. Flotus 3-1, the other one 7-2, 4-1. And yet this filly has been stuck in at 20-1 big best price. And she's got exactly the same figures that those two horses have done. And yet, because hers was a narrow margin win, she hasn't quite got the plaudits. Danny Turdock's been booked to ride, so I presume that they're going to roll the dice and run her again the week after. I don't mind that, by the way. Horse running within 7 days, I think sometimes they get an advantage because they're more fitter than the ones that have been in a box for 3 or 4 weeks. Those have been my shortlisted 3, but at the prices, 20-1, I'd go with Hello My Darling as a juicy each way alternative to those.
Hello My Darling, 20-1, as you mentioned, related to Galileo Gold, who George Bowie knows all about, given that he was Hugo Palmer's assistant trainer when Galileo Gold was doing his thing. Rory?
I'd shortlist similar horses there. I thought the form of Flotus's win at Goodwood hasn't worked out tremendously well. Obviously, she handles soft ground there. And as Andy said, she seemed to do plenty wrong. She was slowly into stride. And then Sylvester de Sousa took her wide of the field. That's not actually a bad place to be at Goodwood. as a rule, more up the centre than trying to get on the rail over 6 furlongs there. I don't think that necessarily did her an awful lot of harm, but clearly for a filly who was quite green, it was it sort of exacerbates that by getting them to race on their own. So she was quite impressive in the end. Just a wee bit disappointing that those in behind haven't done much for the form since. But, you can't really, essentially she was racing against the clock there. It was quite an impressive performance. She deserves to be reasonably short here. I was very, very impressed with Hello You, though, at Wolverhampton. I know there's a question mark about her ability to handle the ground, but I don't think that's going to be an issue. I think that a few trainers are more than happy to start their horses out now on tappeta or on polytrack, knowing that they'll handle turf when needed. And Hello You, I thought that was a much better race in terms of its depth and its quality. And largely that's worked out. It hasn't thrown up a huge number of winners since, but it has thrown up decent performances from those behind. Sunstrike, who was 4th, won next time out. White Jasmine, the runner-up, has run to a similar level since. For George Bowie, interestingly enough. Janan, who was quite well fancied, was disappointing next time out, but she's quite free, and I think she might just go the wrong way. And a couple of those who were down the field, River Pride and Global Romance, have taken significant steps forward as well. So I thought that was the better form of the two, or the easiest form to credit as being very good. Flotus still clearly has a lot of upside to her as well, but I would just favour Hello You. That's pretty much where I stand with it. Interesting to see if they do run Beautiful Sunshine, because that's the same ownership. I would have thought that if they're going to run Hello You, they won't run Beautiful Sunshine. But clearly she won well on testing ground at Sandown. So if they did throw her in there, it would look significant. But my reading of that, looking at it straight away, was that Hello You was liable to be the preferred one. Although it may well be that they decide that Beautiful Sunshine is the filly proven on soft ground, and therefore they might go with her and not run Hello You. So not a race to bet Anthony Post in for that reason. But yeah, as I said, if she does line up, Hello You, I think is an exciting prospect.
Hello You, one for the shortlist, currently 5-1 at the prices at the moment. On then to the King Edwards, where Salamarak, as we mentioned on the Thursday preview, likely to come here and is the 5-2 favourite. So Andy, I'll come to you and we can give him a proper talking over again in a second. Alan Carr is 11-4, the Mediterranean 10-1, Title 12-1, Yabir 12-1, Wordsworth 12-1, Gear Up 12-1 as well, Dancing King 14s, 20-1 bar. Andy, Salamarak heads the market here 5-2, as short as 15-8 elsewhere.
Again, another race that is going to cut up quite significantly, as you can see by the runners. Virtually half the 5-day decks are all engaged in other races, and even jocked up to run and down to run in other races. So I think we're going to get 6 or 7 runners in this race. Again, if you're doing some each-way multiples, it's probably not a bad race if you've got an angle in there to stick a few horses in this race, because you'll be on the right side of it with 3 places anti-post. I'm rather hoping that Sir Lamrock can justify the hype, or my hype.
Yeah,
I said before, I've gone on record, the day when he won at Leopardstown, he was much quicker than Bolshoi Bally. Therefore, I thought, well, if Bolshoi Bally's favourite for the Derby, this fella's got to be a player of sorts. But Ballydoyle obviously don't listen to Oddschecker podcasts, and they decided to bypass the Derby. And
I think they do, Andy. You just didn't make the case. That's it.
I wasn't firm enough in my convictions. But I think he's a serious tool. Salam. The one thing that might blunt him really is the ground. His victory at Leopardstown was on a quick surface. They didn't go to Chester. Presumably they were just a bit worried about the rain there, and they've resisted several temptations, along the way. So, and he looks as though he's got a fast ground action. He has handled soft. He ran well on soft ground or heavy ground as a 2-year-old at the Curragh. But I do think, if I'm being honest, he's going to be a good ground horse. So if it went soft, my anti-post bet that I have on him would look a little bit less appetising, albeit it's an each-way bet. And as I said, I think he'll be 2-1 favourite on the day with like 6 or 7 runners. So I can't have it always. The danger now with a horse I hadn't considered when I put my bet on was Alan Carr. I thought that was going to go abroad. The vibes were that they were going to, they should have been in the Derby, shouldn't he, really? Because he beat Alan, the Derby winner. Adiyar at Sandown. So again, connections that made a right mess of the Derby this year. They didn't run Mo with Moathar, and they didn't even enter Alan Kerr. But yeah, he's an obvious danger. He looks to start at Sandown. Unfortunately, my other anti-post bet for this race is non-runner, Babe Ridge. I think he would have been a big player, but I've lost him. But I've lost him, but I've gained Salamarak, and I've got a short price now about Salamarak. So I'm still hopeful of getting a decent run for my money.
Still hopeful with that Antipode ticket. Can you tell us the price you've got?
16.
Oh, yeah, fair enough. Can't imagine we'll be seeing Salamarak popping up in your column on Friday morning if you're holding a 16 ticket.
That'll be a no bet ratio, I'm afraid.
Yeah, Rory, how do you see this one at the current prices?
Pretty much impossible to get away from Alan Carr at the current prices. His form has clearly worked out very well. There was a big stake. He wasn't hugely fancied at Sandown for the classic trial there, but he won, and he was very game in winning in a 3-way finish. The form took a couple of knocks straight away. Yabir was disappointing at Chester, and something else from behind didn't run particularly well in a classic trial. But it's clearly worked out very well now, with Dayar really ranking the form, and even Yabir managed to do a lot better when he was second in the Cocked Hat Stakes behind Lone Eagle, who was fourth in that contest, and he was favourite for the classic trial at Sandown. And connections of Bellocchio, who was fifth, are keen to give him another chance here. So, the fact that David Manoussier thinks that he might be a Group 3 horse or Group 2 horse suggests that Alain Carr is just a blindingly obvious bet here. He's 11-4, and as Andy says, this could be a 5 or 6 runner race. It's hard not to see him going off a reasonably short price favourite. My understanding, and in fairness, I might be reading between the lines here a little bit, I thought that Sir Lamorak had a bit of a setback after winning at Leopard's Town, but maybe not. Maybe they were just shuffling the field a little bit because
he's meant to run at Chester, wasn't he? And then the ground went against him.
I don't know whether it was down to an issue he had at home, or they got other plans. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like normally Aidan will run them if he can. Yeah. Rather than keeping them sidelines for 10 weeks. So it's a little bit of concern he hasn't run. But yeah, the comments you make about the Leopard's Town runner up, absolutely solid. You compare that handicap with the Ballysacks. And so Lamorak looked a really good horse. Given that he suddenly appeared on the scene accidentally, almost as a Derby horse, made me think that Aidan was almost certain to try him again in a Derby trial. And the fact that he hasn't makes me think maybe something's gone wrong at home with him. But yeah, he could easily bounce back, but I'm a little concerned about that. I'd probably be against Alain Carr if he was sort of the right price based on what he's done. But the right price seems to be about 6-4 for him, doesn't it? Not 11-4,
no.
Because it was a little bit of a shock win at Sandown, but it's worked out so well. And the suggestion with him is he should just do, given that he wasn't terribly fancied for that, and that he's bred to want 1.5 miles on soft ground, then the step up to 1.5 miles on soft ground here for the Ascot Derby should be absolutely perfect for him. So he looks a gift horse, really. And I don't want to be too clever in trying to find ways of opposing him.
Yeah, Alan Carr, 11-4 there, best price. That is with Sky Bet. So that's where you want to be going if you're backing Alan Carr. Rory's made a pretty strong case to do so there. On then to the Commonwealth Cup, where we've got Campanelle, the impressive winner last year at Ascot, is the 5-1 favourite. Suesa, 11-2, although all blue and oddschecker as short as 4-1 elsewhere. Dragon Symbol, 8-1. Supremacy, 9-1. Diligent Harry, 11s. Jumbie, 14s, with Measure of Magic, 16-1 bar. Roy, come to you here. As I say, Campanelle, impressive last year, then stepped up 6 furlongs over in France and did it again before being beaten over a mile in the States. But sure to be popular here after that win last year. Yeah, again,
and like one or two other of Wes Ward's challengers at this meeting, she does have a proper European turf pedigree by Kodiak out of Yusuf and Janina. She's interesting, but I'm not sure how much she'll develop from 2 to 3. We haven't seen how well she will do, and I believe they were keen to get a run into her and haven't been able to do that. So she's not been seen since the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies, in which she was beaten. And I'm inclined to be against her here. I thought Suesa, the other 3-year-old filly getting the allowance, was very strong. She's unbeaten. All her runs have come with ease in the ground, from just on the soft side of good to heavy. She's improved for every run. She won the Pre-Tex Anita last time out. I remember being very keen this time last year on a horse called Wooded in this race, who seemed to have strong claims as well. He ended up missing the meeting. I don't know why. There's no obvious reason for it either. So my anti-post money went down the drain. He went on to win the Prix de la Baye later in the season. This looks a worse race than last year. It doesn't look a particularly strong contest at all. She's always had this on her agenda as well. She's obviously trained in France by Francois Rojo, but she's owned by George Strawbridge, who's always liked runners at Ascot. And she's got really strong claims. I thought she should have been a clear favourite. I put her in at something like 11-4, 3-1. I liked Supremacy enormously last season, but his return was awful. And you got a big question mark. I mean, he was fancy for that. He started an odds-on favourite for the Pavilion Stakes, which is the sort of becoming the traditional prep for this race, but ran no race at all, finishing last. He wasn't beating miles, but he didn't show anything like the spark he did last season, so that's a concern. Dragon Symbol is interesting. I thought he ran a cracker at Haydock last time out from a bad draw. He was quite weak in the market before that, but he ran all the way to the line. He's solid, but he's coming here off a Group 2 defeat. So he does have a little bit to prove, and he's a short enough price based on what he's achieved. But he was impressive over 5 furlongs at Hamilton before that. My gut feeling with him is that he'll end up being a 5 furlong performer. He looks quite explosive. Obviously, he stays 6. He's won over 6 before, and he wasn't stopping at Haydock. But Ascot 6 will be more testing, and I wonder whether that will just find him out. Below that, you've got a lot of horses with questions to answer. So this doesn't look a particularly strong renewal of this race. Again, Miss Amulet I liked last season, but although it was a tough ask for her in the Irish 1,000 Guineas first time, I thought she should have shown a lot more than she did. And the more I look at the race, the more I think that Sueza is an each-way steal.
Sueza, the each-way steal, 11-2 best price as it stands at the moment for Sueza. Profit for the place, even if just a little smidgen. Andy?
Yeah, similar with the Wes Ward horses. As a time man, you just have to probably take it on the chin in many respects if one of their horses win, because your betting style have a substance, and you haven't got any sort of figure to put your hat on, as it were. Similar to with Sueza, my list of jobs doesn't stretch as far as to timing horses at Chantilly. We haven't got any standard times for that track, but look, she did look very impressive. I did see that race, and I do remember Wooded as well. Actually, I was surprised that didn't come over, because I was doing the French racing for oddschecker last year, and Wooded was one of the most impressive 3-year-olds over 6 furlongs. I presume I don't know whether they couldn't be bothered to come over, but there was obviously quarantine issues, and getting horses out from France to the Royal meeting might have been a bit of a pain in the bum. So that then maybe they didn't fancy all that, but a little bit more relaxed now. So Suez will definitely come over and looks a big play. I think she'll go a favourite, as Rory says. Really good case to be made there. The ground's very important to Jumbie. I do think Jumbie's form of that Newmarket handicap is watertight. It might have only been a handicap, but I think he's definitely a group horse in waiting, and he's got some track form. And the other one I'd throw into the mix as well at price is Aidan McGuinness's A Case of You, who's an absolute mudlark. His 2 wins last year when trained by John McConnell were very eye-catching, but they were both on soft ground. He's a very, very talented horse. So the only time he's ran badly was when he was 2-3 over 7 furlongs on good ground at Leopardstown in the Guineas Trial, on Poetic Flair. But he bounced back to form with a good win at Nice last time out on soft ground, beating a good field in a Group 3. So he's a group. He's twice won a Group 3 when the ground's been on the soft side, and he's 16-1. But nothing will go through the race as well as him. He's like a tank. He really has got a high cruising speed, and he stays. And he's like to be underestimated because he's trained by Aidan McGuinness. We all know, having followed Irish racing a long time, Aidan McGuinness is top class. But I don't think the punting public over here are quite cottoned on to him yet, because he does all of his winning mostly in Ireland and places like Galway and Leopardstown and the Curragh. And he doesn't have that many runners over here. But it won't be a lot before too long before he's making the breakthrough over here, and this could be the one.
Case of You, 16-1. With a couple of firms best price Case of You, but Sueza seeming to get a double nod from the 2 guys here. We have 4 races left to preview, and now it is the feature race on day 4, the Coronation Stakes. And Sky Bet have an excellent offer of money back as cash for losing bets in the Coronation Stakes. So place your bets, any win singles or the win part of an each way bet, and you will get your money back as cash if they do not win. This only applies to the first bet that you have on the race with Sky Bet, and as I say, to win singles or the win part of each way singles Free bets and cashed out bets are excluded. Eligibility restrictions apply, and you can find out more in the T's and C's online. It applies to 18-year-olds only and above. And please do visit begambleaware.org for all of the risks surrounding gambling. So that is a great offer from Sky Bet. We had it for the first race on day one, had it for the feature race on day two, and the feature race today. So thank you for Sky Bet, who are sponsoring the show for that offer. On then to the Coronation, as I say, for which that offer applies. And Empress Josephine is the 4-1 favourite, ahead of Primo Bacchio at 9-2, same price as Mother Earth at 9-2. Pretty Gorgeous 7-1, Alcohol Free 8-1, Potapova 9-1, Snow Lantern 10-1, November 14-1, 20-1 Bar. Again, a few firms disagreeing here. Mother Earth, we've got a 9-2 with one firm, 11-4 elsewhere. This could be another race where, because it's going to cut up, we're seeing a few different prices. But Andy, knowing you, that probably means there's an opportunity to snaffle some value.
Yeah, I don't see there being too many non-runners in this race. That's why, again, some of the races make more appeal than this one.
Yeah.
And again, we're looking at potentially soft ground, putting the spanner in the works on one or two chances such as Primo Bacchio and Snow Lantern, who were first and third respectively at York. I was really impressed with Primo Bacchio's performance on the Naysmar. Boy, did she quicken up. Her back end 3 furlong work to the line was incredible. It wasn't a bad overall time, by the way, either. And that form's already taken a nice little boost. If it was good ground, I think she'd probably nearly win Primo Bacchio. And I thought Snow Lantern was a viable each way alternative, but they're both, by the looks of it, won't look good or good to firm ground. So I'm left kind of at the moment a little bit unsure which way I'm going to go with this race. So I'm not going to waste any valuable time that we have on this podcast in waffling for the sake of it. If I haven't got a strong view, I'll pass it over to Rory.
Always important. Rory, have you got a strong view? Are you in the same camp as Andy here?
It's a decent enough race on paper. I'm trying to work out whether the firms are taking a chance by offering 14 and 16-1 about the German challenger November. Peter Schirgen takes her over. She won the German Guineas by 7.5 lengths. Now the German Guineas is not traditionally that strong a race, and she'd been beaten in her prep race for that. But she turned the tables with a couple of fillies who finished in front of her at Dusseldorf, and she was very, very strong at the finish. It's not easy to work out whether they gave her a bit too much rope in front that day, but she got an easy enough lead. But what impressed me was that she kept increasing that lead all the way to the line. And to win a classic, even one that only has Group 2 status, by 7.5 lengths is a pretty decent performance. So I thought she was interesting enough now at a big price. I wouldn't swear that is nearly as good as the form of either the Irish, the British, or the French guineas. I'm pretty sure the race as a whole would be weaker. But to win by the margin she did, I thought makes her potentially very interesting. And we do have this tendency to underrate German fillies when they come over. They got a good strike rate. The German trainers are shrewd enough that they only bring them across when they've got a half-decent chance anyway. And she might just be a bit of a surprise package. She will definitely relish soft ground, which a few in this race won't. Difficult to know how many of these are going to stand their ground as well. There are horses I like in for further down the field. I still like Fev Rover. I think she's trained on really well, but she doesn't want really soft ground. And again, the issue we have here is we're assuming, because we're talking about soft ground on Thursday with quite a lot of rain due to hit the track in the morning, that it will still be soft on Friday. It could, even if we do have that downpour on Thursday, with a little bit of sunshine on Friday, it could dry out fairly quickly as well. So I wouldn't make any hard and fast assumptions about the weather. But yeah, Fev Rovers want to still to keep on side. I know they didn't want the heavy ground. She's raced on heavy twice. I don't think she's liked it twice, but she has won on easy ground. So it ends up being good as soft on the day. She's still interesting if she runs. But November might just be worth taking a chance with. I wouldn't back her each way. I think, again, because she made the running when winning there. If you're not quite good enough and you're making the running, you're very vulnerable late in the day. She's not going to be running through into the frame. So I'd maybe take a chance and back her win only, assuming that price holds up.
November 14-1 best price at the moment. That is with Sky Bet. Fair Rover, a positive mention to at 20-1. Onto the Sandringham then, where we've got Belief, the 12-1, joint favourite with Glasgow Girl, both 12-1. Beheld 14s with Create Belief, Montego Bay, Illicato, Samut, Ready to Venture, all 14s. 16-1 Star of Emirati, Pomelo, Spirit of Bermuda, Ricknar, Lucid Dreamer, Emphatic Answer. Loads and loads still in here at the moment, I think, to be, 39 still in, with it being cut down to 30 on the day. Rory, where are you looking at the moment for the Sandringham?
Not a race I'm looking to get involved in at this stage. It's a tough enough contest.
Yeah.
These three improving 3-year-old fillies are hard to get a handle on. And you just need to look at a few of the recent results to see how difficult this is from a punting perspective. The last two winners have been 33-1 shots. And, they've turned out to be decent fillies, but they'd have been very hard to find on the day. And you've even managed to find a Wesley Ward horse that no one wanted to back that won a few years ago, Conte Partiro. So a horrible race to bet in generally. Obviously, the temptation is to see what Charlie Fellows has in the race, but I think that's there's a little bit of recency bias involved in that. I don't really want to have a bet on this until I see the final field, and I don't want to be getting too heavily involved beforehand in case I allow something to sort of creep into my subconscious. But nothing towards the head of the market strikes me as being massively overpriced. I think this is a really open race. As I said, very, very little appeals to me at this stage. I thought Illicato did it quite well last time and will be suited by Ascot, but I thought she was underpriced when she was due to run at Epsom last week, and she might be over bet again on the basis of that.
Andy, anything for you?
Yeah, I'll just come straight to the point. Yeah, Craig Belief and Tia Delina. Craig Belief, soft ground winner last time at the Curragh. Any horse that wins at the Curragh and he's very strong at the finish on that stiff track has always got to be thought of as a potential horse to handle Ascot. And I do like her. I think she's quite a classy filly. And on Tia Delina, course and distance winner. Third in the Silver Bar last time out behind that nice Rogerian horse on soft ground. She's a soft ground winner over the track. And she's got that perfect Ascot run style as well. You look at all her races when she runs, she gets dropped in, put to sleep and brought through with a run. She's just given a little bit too much to do. Hey, that run style didn't suit that flat track. But at Ascot, like the time before, she was really good at the finish. That's the second time she's run well at Ascot as well. So I think we've seen sort of 14-1 Craig Belief, 16-1 for Tia Delina.
That is definitely 14-1 Create Belief and Tia Delina 16-1.
Yep. Obviously, draw depending. I mean, if they don't get still 1 and 2 and we know the track price is high, then they don't become so appealing. But at this very moment in time, those are the two that I'm looking to put on my shortlist.
We've got two more pretty open contests to get through for the last, for the Friday, day 4 of Royal Ascot. The Duke of Edinburgh Stakes, we're going to talk about now. Quickthorn and RD are the two joint favourites at 8-1, Tritonic 12-1. Valerian Steel 14s with Flying Solo and Miran and Grand Bazaar and Seville Champion and Bernode 16-1 bar. Andy, I'll stick with you for this one for the penultimate race of the day.
Yeah, right to in the market here, unfortunately. I'm not going to tell you something the bookmakers don't already know. Adai, very progressive. I think he's the handicap good thing of the century off a mark of 100, and he's got up 13 wickets for winning Newmarket. But the horse he beat, Rodrigo Diaz, I put him up at Doncaster the other day, impending the victory, and he won very easily. And Adai absolutely slaughtered him, to be honest. High Commissioner, the third horse, has finished second to Farzel since, and he ran well this afternoon at Lingfield, finishing second again. And that horse that beat him at Newbury, Flying Solo, I think he's on the upgrade as well. He went to York. So everything about Adai's form is absolutely rock solid. And he's got a bit of soft ground form as well. And Quickthorn quickened up really smartly for the grade when he won at Haydock the other day. He won by 8.5 lengths, but boy, did he turn it on from 3 out. Again, his back end sectionals are good. But most of the ones I've been highlighting have been ones that have been missed in the market, but I think these two are absolutely bang on the button.
Quickthorn and Adai, both 8-1 joint favourites. Can we find anything else, or are you in agreement with Andy that the market's got this one right?
Quickthorn was also top of my shortlist from a family that Hughie Morrison knows very well too. Andy's made the case very strongly there. There'll be more to come from him, and he's thoroughly unexposed. I thought a horse who's slightly better known, but maybe a little bit underrated all of a sudden is Tritonic, who ran well at the meeting last year. Obviously, we saw him win his first 2 starts over hurdles. Disappointing in this grand scheme of things in the triumph itself, but given he's proven at the track, this ground suits him, and Ryan Moore's been booked by Alan King. I think he's pretty sure to run his race, and he's a double-figure price. So you tend to look for unexposed horses, but he doesn't look, given he's sort of number 16 in this list, he's not badly handicapped over a mark of 99. And he didn't get things run to suit him for a trip that's short of his best at Chelmsford last time out. That was his first all-weather run. He'd be a lot happier on softish ground at Ascot.
Yeah, Tritonic 12-1, pretty much across the board, including Sky Bet. On then to the last race of the day, it is the Palace of Holyrood House Stakes, where Equality is the 7-1 favourite here, significantly 8-1. Boom Shalar 8-1, Warrior Brave 10-1, 14-1, Moseltia Norban 16-1, a few others beneath there as well. 3-year-old handicap over 5 furlongs. And Rory, easy one to solve this. Or maybe not. Who are you looking at this early stage for the last?
Yeah, not a terribly easy one. I thought Boom Shalar was quite interesting for Roger Ferry, and very, very lightly raced, and kind of the profile you're looking for with handicappers at Royal Ascot. This will be his handicap debut, the son of Shalar, but he was impressive in a big field at Windsor last time out. While giving the impression that a stiffer track would suit him. Again, he's come from off the pace there at Windsor after a slightly slow start, so the track wouldn't have been ideal for him. I think Ascot will suit him an awful lot better, and he deserves to be pretty short in the betting. And bearing in mind that Tim Easterby won this race last year, I thought Show Along was quite interesting as well, having won it on soft ground at Chester 2 starts back, and I think he ran at least as well in the grand scheme of things on ground that was probably fast enough for him at York last time out. He'll be happier back on soft ground. The last twice he's run on a soft surface, he's been successful. So the going is still soft on the day. Then Show Along is liable to outrun his odds.
Andy?
Just the one horse that interests me in the race like this. It's a 3-year-old sprint handicappers are difficult to get your head around at the best of times, but when you've got 3 runners in the draw and the ground, we don't know about it even more so. But I think Popmaster's got a hell of a lot of natural ability. I just think he's a little bit quirky at the same time, but I have noticed he's been gelding in the interim. I think that might just make a man of him.
Ironically,
yeah, because I thought he should have won either one of his last 2 races, whether that's just lack of concentration or him just mucking about, whatever, or he's just going to always be a little bit iffy. I don't know. We'll soon find out. But his run beyond Bickerstaff was good. He should have won that day. He was miles back and came through strong. And he didn't get the clearance to run to Doncaster back in April. But he's been given a little bit of a break, obviously, from that operation. I noticed that Tom Marcon's been booked to ride him, and always want to keep Ed Walker on side in these Ascot handicaps. He's just got a very, very good habit of slotting the right horse in the right hole. I'd be certainly looking to do him in some kind of way, shape or form come Friday.
Master 16-1 best price. The 2 for Rory Show Along 16-1 as well, and Boom Shalar 8-1. Well done, both of you. It's been pretty tricky previewing the 4th day of Royal Ascot when we haven't even got the week going yet. So I'm impressed that you managed to impart some wisdom over the course of the podcast. Can I ask you both? I know it's tricky. Ask you both for your naps of the day, given that we're not entirely sure where we're going to be going. Andy, what's your best bet at the moment for day 4?
Can I say my best strategy or my best betting? Yeah. My best betting approach of the day would be in that Sandringham handicap to back both of those 2 horses I mentioned each way. I haven't got a cast iron one all the way down the line on that Friday, but I'd be disappointed if I don't get a good run out of Craig Belief or Tia Delina in that fillies race.
Those 2, the 2 for Andy. Rory?
I would say my bet of the day by a long way would be Swayze in the Commonwealth Cup. A lot of races on the Friday, hard to read at this stage, but I don't think much is going to change between now and then to affect Swayze's chance in that. I think she's got an outstanding one.
Suesa for Rory. Thank you both very much for sharing your thoughts, hopefully flagging some value, no doubt about that whatsoever. And thanks to Sky Bet for sponsoring the show as well. As I mentioned, they have their very good offer, money back as cash for the feature race of the day, the Coronation Cup. The Coronation Stakes. So do check that out as well. Please do download the oddschecker app for the best prices, best bookie offers, free bets, and of course, Andy's tips every day throughout Royal Ascot and throughout the whole year as well. Fingers crossed. We've a couple of winners in there. Do check out day 1, day 2 and day 3's previews, either on any podcast provider or on the Oddschecker YouTube channel, which you can subscribe to. We'll be doing day 5 in a couple of days, so do keep your eyes out and ears out for that. Please do enjoy the racing, hopefully a couple of winning bets in there, and please do gamble responsibly.